So you can easily see ISO on the camera, right? So what does the ISO do? The ISO also controls light. Majorly, that's the work. It just controls light in camera, right? So the higher the ISO, the more light that comes into your camera. The lower the ISO, the less light that comes in. That's typically it. But for the ISO, depending on the camera, what happens is that you can be subset. What's the word? There can be more noise in your frame when you bump up your ISO too high. So depending on the camera you use, and depending on, like I said, what you want to achieve, because in photography, there are rules and there are no rules. Some people, when they take pictures, they want to have a lot of noise in their frame. Some people, they don't want to have noise at all. So it depends on your camera, because for every camera, I think there's a bar with which if you exceed that bar, you tend to see a lot of noise. For some cameras, some low-end cameras, it could be 800, 700. Once you exceed 700 in your ISO, you begin to see a lot of noise. For some people, you exceed 2,000, exceed 3,000, the noise becomes like so much, a lot. So they're like these particles. So I don't know if you've ever seen images where you have like a lot of particles. When you zoom in, it's not sharp. It just has a lot of particles like sand in the image. So that's what we call noise. So like I said, what do you say? I don't think I have one at the moment. I think maybe we need to ask the team if there are pictures where we have noise. Oh, that's a smart idea. I did not think of that. Yeah. I think your phone as well. Yeah, yeah, actually. So it's like a lot of particles in the image. So when you have a clear picture, you would know, right? This is an example of a clear image. You can see there are no particles in this image. It's kind of like just clean and it's good. Let me see if I can see anyone that has a lot of particles in it. Hmm. Don't think I do at the moment. Does anyone have any image that shows noise? Okay, but I mean, if you do take a picture, right, and you bump up your ISO really high, what happens is that you would have an image with shooting not possible due to an error. Okay, so you would have a lot of noise in your frame when you bump up your ISO too high. But like I said, it depends on the camera that you're using, right? So it varies across cameras, like what the ISO points should be before you get the noise. But like I said, there are rules in photography and there are no rules at the same time, in the sense that people kind of play with noise. So you find photographers that, I mean, it's the noise they want to achieve, because like I said, they have a mood board, they have an idea in their head they want to achieve. So they want to achieve an image with a lot of noise and they have to bump up their ISO really high. So it varies, right? So please, can you take us to the next page so I can just show sample images, because I think okay, so this was what I meant with the shutter speed, right? You can see the lines and you can see here it's sharper, right? You can also see for here there's a blurry effect. So it means that their aperture was reduced. It wasn't at a 7.0, it could have been probably on a 2.8, because you can see the sharpness sort of reduced as it was going further back. And then you can see these lines. which was achieved also with shutter speed as well. Next set of images. So this is another really good example of what you can achieve with your shutter speed, right? So this image, you can see she's probably singing, but you can't really see her face well, which was, I believe, what the photographer was trying to achieve. And so this would mean a lower shutter speed to achieve this particular image, and balancing it out with your aperture and your ISO, because remember, they all control light. So if you're going to increase the amount of light that comes in by putting your shutter speed on a 1/20 or 1/50, you should know that you are going to take in a lot of light. So it means that your picture will most likely be overexposed. But you now need to balance it out with your ISO and your aperture to reduce the amount of light that will come into your camera. That is that. This is also the same thing. Please, you can just stay here.
Talking about balancing your aperture and ISO.
Yeah.
You have to do the same thing before taking the pictures.
Yes.
After taking the picture, you can actually get it correctly.
Yeah, so one of the things I know photographers do is that they test run. So this happens if you are doing a studio shot, or like I said, it can actually take a while to get used to, because you want to be able to balance in your head. What do I want to achieve? Oh, I want to achieve this girl. She's blurred and everything. How do I set up my camera? You start adjusting. Okay, maybe if I put my shutter speed at 1/20 or 1/15, and I put my aperture at f7.0, would that be too dark? I'm not sure. ISO 100, you take your shot, you've done something, right? So you might now notice, oh, this image is quite dark for me and it's not achieving the blurred effect I want. So you reduce your shutter speed again. So I can't really say anybody knows the exact setting most times that you should do, because it depends on a lot of factors. One of them which includes your light, external light as well. Of course, as we are in this building, you can see areas with which light is coming in. So it would also affect the setting you would have on your camera. So the setting I would do here cannot work for outside, because there are two different environments. So if I set my shutter speed at 1/200 here and I'm taking a really nice shot, I should know that the minute I step outside, my picture might be overexposed or underexposed, and I still have to make adjustments. So it's very important that as you're taking your picture, you're also looking at what you're taking, because let's not go and shock you. So you take your picture, you have a look at it, you change environment, or you change how you're standing. For instance, I'm standing here and I can take this beautiful lady right here. But the minute I stand from that angle, it changes completely, because the lighting has changed. Okay. Okay, cool. Sorry. Sorry. Is it like 6 minutes on plus question and answers or minus question and answers? Okay. So yeah, so your light setup will change, right? So wherever you stand to take a picture determines a lot of things about your framing and determines a lot of things about what you do. So you have to be very careful about that. So knowing your light. Photography is also all about light. So first thing first, understand your environment, know what it is you are all about. So when you get home today, one of the things I want you to do is think about it. Think about your processes. Are you planning on being an excellent person? If you want to be excellent, what kind of photos do you want to take? Arrange your thoughts together as to what kind of person you want to be with your pictures. Do you want to be that person that has clean photos or sad photos? But what kind of photos do you want to take, right? When you determine that, understand your settings. This will take a while to get a hang of if you are not already a cinematographer and a photographer like some of my bosses here. But I mean, you need to be able to know your settings very well, especially when it comes to lights. You have lights in your background. You want to be able to take pictures and, make sure that the lights does the exact job you need it to do, right? So those things are very, very important. I think I would be rounding up now. It's the class for today. So I don't know if anybody has any question they want to ask before we call it a day. Yeah.
Yeah. So like you said, you like discover like the kind of photos you want to take. So like how can we like discover like because it's not something we know about, like someone like me.
Okay, so sorry, I think I missed something there. Yeah, so I know there are different kinds of photography. We'll talk about that in the next class, right? But I think what I would like you to focus on is not exactly the type of photography you want to take, but more about, like I discussed, impression management, right? So you should be able to know the kind of person you want to be as a photographer, at least right now. What kind of person do you want to be as a photographer? Right, you should be able to determine that. What kind of pictures, like what do you want your pictures to say to your audience, right, as a photographer? Do you want to speak? Do you want your pictures to exude, do you want to be able to tell stories with your pictures? Do you just want to be, a corporate, there are people that do corporate headshots, that's their niche. They just do corporate headshots, but their headshots are clean and nice. So it's to understand how you want to be able to take your pictures. What do you want people to know you for as a person? It's not knowing you for, oh, I'm a documentary photographer or I'm a beauty photographer, but this person takes neat pictures. This person takes nice pictures. This person's pictures are, whatever word you can think of, but having that understanding as a photographer. Any other question? Yeah. Depth of field. This picture is quite blurry. I think I'll need to change it for the next class. But depth of field, right? So that blurry effect you have when you take a picture with your phone, right? So that's what the aperture helps you to do. So the lower your aperture, the more depth of field you have in the background. The higher your aperture, the more in focus everything around you is. So you should know what you want to capture and how to use your settings to achieve that. Any other questions? Okay, thank you everyone. It was a good class and I hope you learned something. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay. Hi guys. Tell me that was insightful. That was that. Did anybody learn anything new? You said a lot. Wow. Yeah, give it to me. What give me just tell me something. Tell me something. What did you what's something new that you learned today?
3 camera settings.
Okay. Which are?
Shutter speed, aperture, ISO.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. Nice. Machama, what's your name again? Right. Yes, I'm Rena. I'll not forget again. Only if you change your clothes. But Rena, tell me one thing you learned today. Impression management. Nice. So the most important thing that I usually tell my people, and I've told them in all the classes I've taught, is in photography, there are what? There are rules, and there are no what? There are no rules. There are rules, and there are no rules. That means there are certain fundamental principles that guide certain things that you want to do. And there's also, in the form of creativity, every rule has to be broken. So that is what opens your mind. You can, that's why once we enter the lightning setup, when we start practicals in the 3rd week, you're going to see, I don't know, not this coming one. It's not the 3rd week, because I say, 3rd week. So calm down. So in photography, like I said, in photography, videography, in every area you find yourself in life, there are rules and there are no rules. In a sense, there's always an unorthodox measure you have to carry out. So when you get to lightning aspect, you start to see redundant lightning, where some lightning you have to put, let me ask you guys. The basic thing you know about photography is your picture is bright, Abby. That's the number one thing everybody knows, is that your picture is bright. Why did I think you're very well inside the creative space? Did you? Eh?
I can like that too. I don't like the kind of
I see your content. Yes. So you're here. So tell me, what other kind of at least I know you create content with phones, yeah. So tell me now, what's your favorite kind of pictures? So you see, documentary is even crazy in the sense that documentary does not even have rules, does not have rules and regulation. It just exists. So even a day old person can come and say, take this. He will shoot documentary. Then you now have to learn to some particular level to shoot a very perfect documentary. So in photography, you can decide that this place should be bright, this place dark, this place blue, this place yellow, this place orange. Yeah, so it's how you can take your mind, how you can shape how you want to grow. Do you understand? So like how you want to shape your growth process. That is it. So in photography, you can break rules, you can mend rules. That's why every time, every YouTube video you watch of different kind of editing,